Hello, 7Es, receiving students and teachers.
Hello, Miss Irma.
Thank you. May sit down. All right, 7Es and receiving students. I mentioned to you that we were going to recap, or we're going to correct one of our activities in today's lesson. That activity was on additional activity 4A. All right, receiving students. So 5.14 divided by 0.2. All right, we're going to correct it together. So how many decimals do I have here? How many decimal numbers do I have? 1 or 2? There are 2 decimal numbers, 5.14 and 0.2. So remember the rule, when you are dividing 2 decimal numbers, what are you going to do? Class, receiving students? Okay, let's have Kalen, sorry.
We multiply them by 100.
Okay, thank you, Kalen. All right, Kalen is saying you're going to multiply the decimal numbers by 100. Now, firstly, you look at the divisor, okay, 0.2. What are you going to do with 0.2? In order to divide the 2 decimal numbers, firstly, you have to do something. The first step, all right, Evelyn, you tell the class, what is the first step that you will have to do?
Move the decimal point.
Okay, good, Evelyn. You only said move the decimal point. How many times will I move the decimal point? Or before that, I have to change the divisor into what? Okay, now you are talking. Change the divisor into a whole number, right, receiving students? Now, when you're going to change the divisor into a whole number, you are multiplying by 100, 10, 1,000? All right, multiplying by 10 because you have 1 decimal. Sorry, you are going to make 2, change 2 into a whole number, so you have to multiply by 10. And when you multiply by 10, you move your decimal point where? Okay. To the right. So to the right, you see your decimal point is here, now you move 1. See, so decimal point is here, it will become 2.0, which is the same as 2. Remember I said change the divisor into a whole number first. So when you do that with 0.2, you also do the same with 5.14. So 5.14, how many places are you going to move your decimal point? 1. Okay, 1 place to the right. Okay, you also do the same like what you did for the divisor. So 5.1, you move 1 decimal point to the right. You will have 51.4. So it should be like this. It should read 51.4 divided by 2. Now you can divide. Okay, class, receiving students and 7Es. So it will be easy for you to divide. So we have the divisor, 51.4. 2 into 5 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 take away 4 is 1. Okay, bring down the 1. Okay, 2 into 11? 5. 2 5s are 10. Okay, decimal point up there. Bring down the 4. 2 into 4 is 2. Okay, 2 2s are 4. So your answer should be 25.2. Hands up if you got your answer. is 25.2. Receiving students? Okay, you multiply 25.2 times 2 first and see if our answer is, just check if this is the correct answer. 25.2 times 2. Oh, sorry, mistake, okay. 1 take away 0 is 1, okay. 1 take away 0 is 1. So bring down the 4. What's 2 into 14? 7. Okay, so 2 7s are 14. So, sorry class, there's a mistake there. So 25.7, did you get that? Yes. Okay. Thank you, 7 for picking that one out, that mistake. All right. So that's when you are dividing two decimal numbers, all right? That's what you do. You have to change the divisor into a whole number first, and then you also do the same with the dividend. All right. Well, before we go on to today's topic, right, I'm going to give an amount of money to the 4 groups here in front. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? All right, receiving students, we're going to give an amount of money and the group will tell you how much they have. Okay, so group 1, group 2, group 3, okay, and group 4. Okay. All right. Okay, group 1, can you just tell the receiving students how much money do you have? How much money do you have?
One kina 25 toya.
All right, good. Next group, group 2.
5 toya.
5 to next group.
50 toya.
All right.
1 kina 5 toya.
All right. So class, the 4 groups have, all right, an amount of money each, and this is what they're going to do. All right, receiving students, what you're going to do is you're going to change that amount of money, all right? They're going to change the amount of money into decimal, all right? You write it in decimal. I've given you 2 pieces of papers. Write in decimal that amount of money, and then with the other paper, you also write that amount in fraction, okay? So, receiving students, you're going to write that amount of money in decimal on 1 piece of paper, in decimal, and the other piece of paper you write it in fraction. That amount of money you write in fraction. The 4 groups, are you listening? You know what to do? Okay, write that amount of money in decimal on 1 piece of paper and the other amount in fraction. Now the other groups are we're going to put their answers up on the board, and you others will try and see if they are correct, or you identify their mistakes if there is any. All right, have you finished? Okay, the first group, have you finished? Make sure your decimal amount, or your amount in decimal, and the amount in fraction. Okay, group 1, if you finish, come and put your work on the board quickly. Now you others, the other groups, receiving students, you identify they have any mistakes here. Okay, group 2. Quickly, those of you finish, put your work on the board. Go. I'll put it here. All right, quickly, you others, hurry up. So group 1, what was your amount, the amount? 1 kina 25. Okay, they had 1 kina 25. Group 2, okay, 5 toya. They had 5 toya. Group 3, 50 toya. Group 4, 1 kina 5 toya. All right. Now, the other groups, I want you to identify, look at their work. Now, they were supposed to write that amount, the amount in decimal, and then write in fraction. Okay, let's see, group 1. Let's see if there's any mistake here. Group 1. Do you think this amount is correct in decimal? 70s and receiving students? 1 kina 25 toya in decimal number. You others? Okay. Hands up if you think it's wrong. All right, 1 kina 25 is correct, but when in decimal, you can have it as just, you don't have to worry about this unit or the kina sign. You can just have it as what? 1.25, okay? In decimal, it's 1.25, so don't worry about the unit or the kina sign. Okay, what about, let's check the next one. 5 toya in decimal. Do you think that's correct? 0.5. Five whole. Some of you are saying 5 whole. 5 toya. Okay, it's a single toya, 5 toya. Okay, it's just a single toya, 5 toya. Okay, Clement?
0.05.
Okay, did you hear what Clement said? 0.05. Okay, in other words, it's like this, 5 toya, okay? It would be as 0.05. Okay, now let's look at 50 toya. What about 50 toya? Are they correct? Do they have any decimal number here? No. It looks like it's just a whole number, 50. 50 toya in decimal would be, okay, 0.5, or if it's written in 50 toya, it would be like this, in decimal, okay? 50 toya, so it would be 0.5 or 0.50, okay? That's still the same, 0.5 or 0.50. Later we'll come to that. Okay, what about This one here, 1 kina, 5 toya. Are they correct? Are they correct? 1.5. Yes or no? One kina, 5 toya. Okay. Bagley?
$1.05.
Okay, very good. 1 kina 5 toya in decimal would be 1.05. Okay? All right. So that's in decimal. Now what about in fraction form? Here they have 25 over 100. Are they correct? Just 25 over 100. What about the one here? Where is the one? Where will the one go? Then if it's 25 over 100, it will be 25 toya. Receiving students, 7 is 1 kina 25 toya. 1 whole and 25 over 100. Okay? 1 whole and 25 over 100 in fraction form. Okay, can you see? 7 is and receiving students, 1 whole and 25 over 100. Now, can you simplify 25 over 100? Okay, you can simplify. Okay, simplify by 25 into 25 is 1, 25 into 100 is 4. So it will be 1 whole and a quarter. Okay, but let's just check this out in fraction form. 1 whole and 25 over 100. Okay, what about 0.05 in fraction? Five over 10 or 100? 5 over 100. Okay, you remember your place value? Place value chart, 7 is and receiving students. 5 over 100. Okay, we'll come to that later. All right, next one. 50. Okay, you can also simplify that. Okay, 50 will be 50 over 100. And then you can, okay, we can simplify. But we won't simplify it. We'll just go through this in fraction first. Okay, what about this one? 1 kina 5 toya. 1 whole and 5 over 100. Okay, all right. Now, to help you more on this, we are going to go through our topic. Our topic for today's lesson is on fractions and decimals, okay? 70s and receiving students. All right, fractions and decimals. We are going to, in this lesson, we are going to try and change decimals to fractions and change fractions to decimals. So that activity which I just gave you was a sort of a lead-up exercise, on how you can change fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions. Now, all right, what do we call this? What do we call this chart here? A place value chart, okay? We call this chart here a place value chart. Now, you're going to convert decimals, okay, to fractions. 0.3, okay, 0.3. You're going to change that decimal number into a fraction. Now using this place value chart, we are going to see how we can, the place value chart will help you to change the decimal number into a fraction. So here we have the columns, the units, okay, and after the units, we have the tens, hundreds, thousands. So after the units, we have the decimal point. Okay, or let's say the decimal point is in the middle. All right, 0.3. Where will my 0 come in? Under which column? Tens or units? Units. 0. Okay, and where will my 3 come in? Tenths. 0.3. Okay, remember, in between the units, this can be units or ones. Okay, it can be units or ones. In between here is the decimal point. After the units, you have the fraction or decimal place values here. Tenths, hundreds, thousands, and so on. So 0.3. So what will 0.3 be in fraction? Okay, class? 3/10. Okay? In fraction, it will be 3/10. Can you see? Because 3 is under the tenths column. So tenths represents 1/10, 1/10. Hundreds represent 1/100. Thousands, 1/1000. Units, these units are ones. Whole number, 1. Tens, okay, then you have units, tens, and hundreds, so on. You understand, 70s and receiving students? Okay, let's try the other one. 2.48. Change that into a fraction. Okay, so we've done 0.3. Okay, 2.48. Okay, use this place value. Where will my 2 go? Okay, sorry, I have my decimal point here. Units or ones. So 2 and 4 and 8. 4 tenths and 8 hundreds. 2.48. Now, we try change this into fraction. Two whole and 48/100. Okay, 2 whole and 48/100. Because 4 is in the tens, 8 is in the hundreds. So we have it as 2.48, 2 whole and 48/100. Can we simplify? Yes, we can simplify 48 and 100. If you find any fraction that you can simplify, you simplify further, okay, receiving students? So we're going to simplify by 2. 2? 2 or 4? 4. Okay, 4. So 48 into, 4 into 48 is 12. Okay, 4 into 48 is 12. 4 into 100 is 25. So your answer should be 2 whole. When you simplify it, it should be 2 whole and 12/25. Okay, so when you change that decimal 0.3 into fraction, it's 3/10. Changing it into fraction, 2 whole and 48/100, but you can simplify, so we have it as 2 whole and 12/25. 70s. So using your place value chart can help you to identify how to change, identify the decimal into fraction. All right, now let's look at the other two. When we convert fractions to decimals. This time, the other way around, fraction to decimals. Okay, 2/5. Change 2/5 into a decimal number. Okay, this one. Okay, 2/5. Change 2/5 into a decimal number. Emmanuel? Okay, let's try Emmanuel.
0.4. 0.4.
0.4. Okay, he says 0.4. All right. Emmanuel, how did you get 0.4?
5 divided by 2.
Okay. Receiving students and 7 is, when we change fractions into decimal, okay, this is what we do. Okay, this is one way how we can change the decimal into a, the fraction into a decimal. You can 5 be the divisor, okay, and 2. 5 is outside, so you divide. Okay, 5 into 2, can it go? No, so you put a 0, okay? So 5 zeros are 0, okay? Put down 2. Now what can you do? Decimal point up here, all right? Can you bring down a 0? Yes, to make 20. Okay, so 5 into 20 is 4. So 5 fours are 20. So you see? That's how we can change, that's one way of how we can change a fraction into a decimal. All right? 70s and receiving students, 2/5. So we have 2/5 is equal to 0.4. The the denominator becomes the divisor. Okay, let's try the next one. 13/10. Change that into a decimal. Okay. Walter?
One point three.
1.3. Okay, let's see if he's correct. So, we're going to divide. 10 becomes a divisor over 13. 10 into 13. Okay, 10 into 13 is 1. 10 ones are 10. Okay, 3 take away 0 is 3. I put my decimal point up here. Okay, bring down 0, 30. 10 into 30 is 3. 10 3s are 30, 1.3. Okay, 70s and receiving students. So when you're changing, so you have 13/10 is equal to 1.3 in decimal. So when you are changing fractions to decimals, that's one way you can follow. One method you can follow, divide. Okay. When you are changing decimals to fractions, you just see the place value, use the place value chart to help you. Okay. So 0.4 and 1.3. Okay, quickly, 70s and receiving students. If you look at your exercise, I've taken your exercise from exercise 3, A and D. So I'd like you to quickly go through that, or answer those two, A and D. Convert these decimals to fractions. Okay? Convert these decimals to fractions in the simplest form. Simplest form meaning if you need to simplify, you simplify. Okay? All right, 7Es and receiving students, we'll correct the exercise now. Receiving students, the exercises which they haven't completed, you can let them do it for their homework, and then you collect the books, workbooks. Likewise with you 7Es, I will collect your books after this. All right, let's go through exercise 3A. 0.1 change into a decimal. what will be the into a fraction? Your answer will be, okay, 1/10. All right? 1/10. 0.1. 1/10. Okay, 0.64. 0.64. Okay, in fraction, 64/100. Can you simplify? Yes. Simplify by, or divide by 4. So, 4 into 64? 16. 4 into 100? 25. 16/25. You cannot simplify further. No? Okay. So 16/25. Okay. 3/5. Change 3/5 into a decimal number. 3/5. Okay, 3/5. What are we going to do? Divider. 5 becomes the divisor. So 5 into 3, cannot, put 0. 5 0 0. 3, bring down 0. Decimal point, okay, sorry, before that decimal point is here. Okay, 5 into 30 is 6. 5 6s are 30. Okay. So 3/5 is in decimal is 0.6. Okay, like I said, I'll correct B with you, or I'll collect your books to correct your work. Receiving teachers, please correct B with your students. Okay, so again, when we are converting decimals to fractions, make sure you use your place value chart. Okay, use your place value chart and see where you can change your decimals to fractions. If you need to simplify, you can simplify. When you are changing fractions to decimals, you do show that method there. You divide. The denominator becomes the divisor. Okay, our key phrase for today's lesson, class, fractions and decimals. And in our next lesson topic, we're going to be looking at fraction of an amount. All right. That brings us to the end of our lesson. 7Es and receiving students, thank you for your participation in today's lesson.